Tyree, what's good?
Oh,
shit.
Oh, man.
I was gonna check on that.
Ooh.
Hey. I was gonna check on that.
You know what?
Pico so
I
fucking
feel
cold.
like when you listen to all the instruments that Zaytoven put in there, like, this beat can really almost be for anybody.
Yes, Kurt Franklin.
Kurt Franklin.
Pico, Burberry. Oh,
Like
man.
ever since I seen
I thought-
Zaytoven playing that piano on the NPR thing with Gucci, you can't tell me what Zaytoven can't do at this point.
You could tell when you saw that he definitely learned how to play the keyboard in the church.
in the church.
In a church.
Only a church player got that movement in his body. You looking like
I just
it.
need Ty Tribbett and Zaytoven to link up.
Ty Tribbett and Zaytoven. G. What? I think it'll make trap gospel.
Man,
mean,
look, I think
listen,
something special can happen.
When I found out Zaytoven, he still plays the organ in his father's church every Sunday. He
That's
don't
dope.
miss a Sunday.
That's dope.
I'm like, you know what? Next time I go to Atlanta, I'm gonna
gonna go to the
find
church?
that church
That's
because
nice.
I just want to see it.
Right.
I just want to see it.
I'll cry.
I just
really
sit in the
cry.
back and I'll be like, dang, man.
And you know what? Before we even continue this podcast, if anybody listens to this and says, "Y'all talking about Future again?" Yes,
Yes.
yes, we are.
The fuck?
Yes, we are.
Actually.
Yes, and we're not apologizing for it.
No, I'm not either.
If you don't apologize for fucking your baby daddy again, you're not gonna
Oh,
apologize
my
for listening
God.
to Future.
Listen, we're not talking about Future.
We
We're
not.
talking about Zaytoven.
Zaytoven.
But they heard Pico. You know, we got
You know,
excited. But I'm gonna tell you this too though. Look, stop trying me, man. Try y'all hate auntie whose son still got your clothes from when y'all was kids.
What is wrong with y'all?
Hey, I be in the street now. People like, man, I don't like Future either. Hey, look, bro, I don't care. When I see y'all, I don't want y'all opinions on Future. It does nothing for me. I don't care. Unless you telling me, hey man, did you listen to this? Don't come to me with negativity about Future.
Hey, you know what? That's ain't that the beautiful part of getting old?
Yeah.
Because when you was younger, you would listen to like opinions from other people, right? You
Now-
like,
Nah,
you
you
listen
tell
to it.
them,
Now you
nah.
just like,
Go talk to your
Don't
cousin.
entertain it.
yeah, exactly.
Talk
like,
to your cousin
oh,
who don't
okay.
have enough quarters for the laundry.
You like, that's cool.
Don't talk to me.
You like, I'm cool. It's cool. You feel that way,
Right. Congratulations. Right.
I'm about to listen to it.
You don't like Future. You don't enjoy life. Cool.
Yeah, I try my best. Like on Facebook now, I just like every comment. I try not to go under it,
Right.
Unless it's some real stuff. Like my man Dion, he was saying, "Oh man, you can't put Jay-Z as the GOAT because he fake. You got Tupac and Drake."
Well, I saw that on your. I had to just keep scrolling.
Yeah, he said Tupac and Drake the greatest. But
Well, man, he
he
said-
said Tupac and fake.
He said Tupac wasn't fake.
Tupac ain't catch no cases till he got locked. I mean, till he became a rapper.
Wait, but Jay-Z was fake. He labeled Jay-Z fake.
Because I guess he said he rapped about Emery's life.
I get that, right?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, but
Never mind. Let's not entertain that. Jay-Z is number one on my totem pole. Just me.
Yeah.
That's just me, though.
yeah,
That's just me.
I mean, until I listen to Christopher Wallace, then I'll be like big. But understandably, that Jay-Z is the most
it's just
accomplished
hard.
rapper of all time.
It's just
really hard to
The
put
body
somebody
of
with-
work. The
body-
body
Yeah,
of
that's
work.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Listen, can you introduce our guest? We got a
Yes,
special
because
guest here.
we get sidetracked as we do every
Yes.
week. So today's guest, we have my good friend since 4th grade.
That's right.
I give him the distinction of my first friend who is not black.
Oh, man.
And he has stuck with me all this time. Like I had to double check my memory bank to make sure it's like it was you then Chris Chester.
Okay.
So I thought Chris Chester was going to edge you out.
Hey, Chris Chester, Joe.
Chris Chester is trill, G.
Gee, how many Chris's y'all fucking know?
Man, a lot. And your point, the fuck.
Hey,
Just like we had Chris's outside,
Look.
y'all have like Quantales out there.
hey, not
you
too
know
much,
what I'm saying?
motherfucker. Hey, look, I know you got on your "I'm here for business" shirt, but I'm here to party pants. So I know you feeling yourself. I see you feeling yourself a little bit.
I
But we go
understand.
chill, G.
You got your-
Could you introduce your guest?
I'm trying to.
Thank you,
I'm trying
kind
to.
sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, kind
You
sir.
mean our guest.
Our
All
guest.
right, yeah. You know, he made it personal.
Got
Go
to
ahead.
jump out the side chick with no pants. Anywho, we have our good friend here, Claudio Rivera, an esteemed community activist in the back of the yards neighborhood.
Yep.
And he has more degrees than a law should allow. So as always, I like people to talk about themselves. Because Claudio, he's naturally humble. So I like when he like talks shit about himself. He only gets non-humble on the court if you think it's sweet with Claudio got on like these nice slacks. He got on shoes with no socks. Claudio will hoop you. Like, no bullshit. Claudio will dunk on your ass.
Listen.
And then invite you over for a nice meal afterwards.
Grapes.
Before he talks about himself, I would like to still tell Claudio to his face that me and Dion are still upset that him and the Mexicans hustled us in high school. And we played a pickup game. And Claudio, you may remember this. 5-on-5, $10 a man.
That's right.
I knew Claudio could hoop.
$20, man?
Nah, yeah, it was 20 because I knew I was hurt.
I remember I was hurt. I would have been hurt about 10. But...
Yeah. So, like, I knew Claudio could hoop, so I told the guys, like, man, outside of Claudio, we ain't got really nothing to worry about. I got Leo. He wasn't even Mexican. Leo
was Colombian. And Leo was my guy. Leo Lugo was my guy.
Lugo hustled us. We should never have done any bets with Colombians. I learned from then that was not the thing to do. So Leo's like, yeah, it's going to be me, Claudio, and 3 other guys. You know what I'm saying? Y'all talk all this shit, like, you know. And we knew Leo sucked.
Right.
But what we didn't know is that Claudio hung with a group of guys that could hoop. So, you know, a special fuck you to Adrian Soto, Adolfo, what was my boy? Was it
Alfonso?
Alfonso, yes, Alfonso.
Look, anytime you played against a team, everybody name ended, oh, your ass is in trouble, bro.
And the fucked up part was, Leo didn't hoop until like game point when he subbed himself in. I was so mad.
And hit a shot.
And hit a shot and gamed us.
And y'all gotta understand, like, I think it sounds weird, but that was a beautiful part about Whitney Young, right? Because me and Leo was close, so I was sure that we were gonna win this game. Like, I was absolutely sure.
We haven't been sure anything in my life, because if people who know me, I don't bet on anything.
Right.
So for me to bet on $20 at the age of 16, I was very sure we were just gonna double team Claudio and just be cool.
Right,
man. Me and Leo used to trade clothes, Yankees jerseys and stuff like that, and then this game come. Man, we definitely got lost.
Now that Claudio, what was your perspective when this bet was brought to you?
I was just licking my chops because I knew people were sleeping on us.
Did they run y'all out the gym?
The score like 34-12.
This was an outside game.
It was outside,
and it was a crowd watching. I actually slapped the guy in the middle of a game.
Shut the fuck up.
He slapped like a freshman. Dude was
you slapped a spectator?
He was yelling. He was talking. He was laughing at us getting blown out.
He was talking shit. And Dion's, I'm gonna slap your ass. Next time down the court, Dion like ran over and slapped his ass.
So y'all lost y'all money and y'all motherfucking pride. Everything.
No, we
I didn't lose my pride. Like,
patience. Oh my God.
Right, no, they stepped up. They accepted the bet, which is something we didn't know was going to be a for sure thing. Right. But see, for me, I was the perpetual bench rider on the Whitney Young team. Right. But I knew I could ball, but I just never got the chance. So I said, I'm gonna take it out on these guys, and we could go bet up for $20. You know.
You see, I knew what was going on with Claudio. Like, I was like, it was like me and Ryan that knew that Claudio could hoop. Right. So I was like, we just double team. Like, I'm setting the game plan up. You know, this is when, you know, I finally hit my growth spurt. So I thought, you know, I could, you know, at least I can match up with Claudio. Like, he won't kill me. Right. But man, it's like when you got leaky faucets on the back end of the defense.
Man, look.
I can just hear MP now. What the fuck is going on? Clapping his hands.
No, because the niggas start gunning each other out. Like, it was like the score was 10-2 and we was already arguing with each other.
It happened so fast.
It happened so fast.
I think we had Armando on our team too, right?
Yes,
another guy named
and he was super speed. I mean, you couldn't just keep up with that guy.
See, that's what I just said. Did they run y'all out the gym?
Yeah.
No offense, Claudio.
No, it's cool.
2 styles of play. Either they go run or they go hack. Either way.
And I don't think it was any hacking. They just
running.
It was like you could. It was like just like I said. It was just a blur the whole game, and you could tell like that they had played together. Like, we played together, but you could tell they played together.
Like, you know, like they had practice or something like that. Like, you know.
And then we would mix in the Spanish a little bit just to let you know what we weren't doing.
Oh,
you know?
my God.
Yeah, you know.
It's a creta. It's a creta.
Yeah, I was getting real mad.
You probably had a better chance of beating us at soccer because that was not our game.
Damn, that's cold.
That was just the motherfucker.
I'm getting mad all over again.
Okay. Let's have Claudio introduce himself as a person.
Tell us about yourself, man.
Perfect, man. Well, like Anthony said, we met back in Beasley, 4th grade.
4th grade.
Graduated together, went to high school together. So I'm just, young guy from the south side of Chicago, live in the back of the yards. I'm always repping my neighborhood to the fullest. Been there from day one, still living there, plan to stay there forever. Do a lot of community-based work there, but after graduating from Whitney Young, went over to DePaul, got my bachelor's degree there, and did a lot of community-based work in the neighborhood, in both back of the yards and Pilsen. And then realized I got to do something more, so decided to go back to grad school and got a combined master's and doctorate degree in clinical community psych, which I just finished about a year ago.
Yes.
So now I'm doing a postdoc fellowship over at the one of the children's hospital. It'll remain unnamed. I don't need to give them any credit for having my presence in there.
True indeed.
So that's kind of what I've done a lot professionally, with a big focus on community empowerment, mental health, and just overall health kind of promotion. But then in the neighborhood, just connecting with a lot of my peers who've kind of come up in the neighborhood, doing a lot of great business ventures, promoting art, culture, safety, responding to a lot of the challenges that exist in neighborhoods like back of the yards, but a bunch of other neighborhoods citywide. So it's really nice to see, because you got this wealth of people, this social capital of individuals who come up together, who are then enacting change in some way. And I think that's what this podcast reminds me of, and the representation of all the guests you all have here. Yeah. I just see everybody that's kind of peers coming up, and what happens when you give people the opportunity to actually do something. It's greatness, man. And I think that's just one of the things that I can really speak to, is seeing all my peers doing greatness, not just for themselves, but as they climb the ladder, they put that arm down and pull somebody up with them, and that's just the philosophy, I think, of a lot of us, and it's pretty dope, man.
Damn, that probably was like top 2 intros we ever had on this one.
One of the greatest elevator speeches.
Yeah, that was cold. That was like Mayweather portraying why he the greatest. Damn.
That's what happened when it's natural.
That was all natural.
So let's start it off with this. Let's start it off with so being that you're Mexican and we're African American,
right?
We always kind of assume that the brown struggle is the same as the black struggle,
right?
Could you go into details, I guess, either confirming like the same, like you have the same struggles, or what additional struggles that are unique to Mexicans,
right,
or Hispanics in general,
right? And I think when we think about kind of the parallels between the black and brown community, I think one of the things is sometimes we think it's a misconception that they're like so separate and distinct, and we forget to recognize the overlap. And just so a couple examples of overlap would be, so like when we think of immigrants, we think Mexicans, but we know there's African immigrants, even here in Chicago, right? So the immigrant issue is one that pertains to all walks of life: black immigrant, brown immigrant, white immigrant, whatever it is. So that's one. We also recognize, Chicago's segregated as hell. We all know that.
Right.
But the fact that we still come together, I'm sure you all can point to individuals who couples who black and brown, and they're starting to raise their family together. So individuals you start seeing the diversity just intermingling that way. So it's not that it's just this whole separate thing of like, oh, we're black, we're brown, and we need to just worry about what's happening in our community. So given that, just wanted to say it's not so distinct. And when we think about the history of, and the fact that when we think about globally, blackness is present globally. Yeah. So I think about, so you're talking about Mexican. Mexican just represents half my background. Right. I also got Brazilian and Palestinian heritage in me. But so I remember going down to Brazil when I was little, and my mom's like, "That's your cousin," and she was black, and I was like, "That's my cousin." I was like, "I got a black cousin." So, but I'm 5 years old learning this, and this is the way then I'm starting to be socialized and say, "Okay, cool, I got a black cousin." I didn't think twice of it, but I was like, but I did notice this was the first time I ever had a black cousin, right? So, but that became the norm to me. Then I come up in places like Beasley, so me being in black and brown environments was the norm. So I've had the privilege of actually having that my whole life up until like when I got to the end of grad school, and I was like, man, it's feeling mighty white all of a sudden, right? But in terms of the parallels, I think we can think about it globally and recognize that there are the intersection of black and brown exists across the world. And like in Mexico, for example, they just acknowledged, the Mexican government just acknowledged that there's an African population there, and they added it to the census. So then people had the chance to check that off, and so now they're recognizing there's an African population.
How long was the fight for that going on?
I don't know the history behind it, but they just did it at the last census.
Yeah, because I remember hearing about that. I was like, well, somebody must have been raising hell about that for it to be even on the census.
Right. Yeah, and then here locally, like Chicago, in terms of black and brown. So politically, like, you know, it's I think it's done intentionally to try to make us think it's distinctly only black and brown, to try to almost pit us against each other in some way. So you got the local aldermen that are, and I don't mean to make the podcast all political, but
this is you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. We're okay.
All the time.
And I'll never put my name up for any politician because so I'm just more speaking about kind of just unity and empowerment that can come from the communities. So from that perspective, but you got the caucus of aldermen, there's the Latino caucus and the Black caucus. And they like to then play to their base and kind of say, this is what our top priorities are. So one thing and what that looks like currently within Chicago politics is that there is the Fraternal Order Police Union is up for revision. So then that's something that the Black caucus is saying we want to make sure that we are changing some of the rules that they feel have been unfairly been given to police that gives them an advantage. For example, like that they have 24 hours before they got to issue a statement when there's potential misconduct, or a ban on rewards where officers can report each other. Say, well, we're not going to reward reporting each other, so there's a ban on that. So those are kind of things they're trying to undo. The Black caucus is really pushing for that. Latino caucus, there's aldermen there. They're like, that's not an important priority for us. So they think they're speaking for the Latino community, thinking that's not important, but we know that that's a parallel issue, a struggle for us as well.
We both have the struggle of police brutality.
Exactly right, and the challenge, and as we know what the rates of incarceration are for black men in America. How that looks in the Latino community then is the threat of deportation. And those two mechanisms work the same way, right? What do? They incarcerate, they detain us, they make us unemployable and unable to vote. So they take away our economic power and our political power, whether it's through incarceration or detention through deportation. So that's the parallel that's happening there. So that's say back to the local level, and here in Chicago, we got the Black caucus that's really saying the Fraternal Order of Police revision of the union contract needs to happen, and then the Latino aldermen are not so down. There's a few that are down for it, but it's not a top priority for them. It's like we need to make Chicago a more immigrant-friendly, welcoming city. And you hear a lot about this welcoming city ordinance, and that's happening. And that's the big push there. And I go back to that point of like that's not a solely Latino issue because we have black immigrants in Chicago, right? But within the kind of political infighting, it's like, oh, you'll hear one subset of aldermen say, I don't want to talk about the immigrant issue, I want to talk about the police issue. And then vice versa, they'll say, I don't want to talk about the police issue because that don't matter to my constituents, I want to talk about the immigration issue. And it's like, I don't think they're speaking for our communities. I think they're speaking for their asses. They just want to stay in office.
Pretty much.
Right, and they'll play to the fears of whatever they think, and they'll say, oh, we can't, we got to lock those thugs up. And in the Mexican community, they're like, yeah, well, we do got a gang problem, so we shouldn't take away power from the police. We should be locking these thugs up. And it takes. They don't realize that they're shooting themselves in the foot because the police is going to be like, well, you happen to be in that neighborhood, I'm going to associate you with being a thug, even though you don't claim to be. Right. So I think that's how it looks here in terms of drawing the parallels. Recognizing the power that can come collectively, especially here in Chicago, where we have a third of the population white, a third black, a third Latino, and then we see, every mayoral election, we got whatever the front running candidate is. In this last one, it was Emmanuel, and then you see they might troll out a Latino candidate and a black candidate, and they'll try to be like, all right, well, let them chip away at those votes because the way the politics work, as long as they get 50% plus one of the vote, that person will win. So it ends up finding ways where we may, argue and say, well, just because that person looks like me, I'm going to vote for them. I think that's an oversimplification that they try to play at people's fears. I think people in the community really recognize, like, no, we can unite around the policies and the issues and, like, fuck what the candidate looks like.
So you think people in general are lack of a better word, getting smarter or knowledgeable because they're getting more information now when it comes to that? Or you still see people kind of like just falling in line in your community?
I think it's hit or miss. I think there's a subset of people that are aware of that, and then there's a subset that still play at their fears get played at, their anxieties. You know, similar to the current administration nationally, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They play on those anxieties, and people are like, "Oh shit! Like I need to button up and vote for this person." Or sometimes there's just kind of lack of interest in voting because it's a system that hasn't benefited us usually, and that goes for both black and brown. It's like, why vote if those candidates don't look out for us, and if anything, they go ahead and enact policies that then target us and tear through our communities, and then they want to blame us for it, you know?
True indeed.
So.
Politics just fucked up.
Right.
You know, that's
right. I fucking hate politics.
Yeah, across the board. It's like, I don't know. I be feeling like sometimes it should be like an area. Just say these 4 blocks, 5 blocks, just say from Chicago Avenue to Augusta, Pulaski to Cicero. It should be boards. I feel like it should be boards. We give it to an alderman, but I feel like it should be more people involved instead of just this one magic, I say mythical character because they ain't really doing shit to me in my eyes. Like, who really fights? I remember the school I was working at, XYZ, was closing down. And I remember we had a big meeting, all the parents, and they can't close the school down and all this. And I'm thinking, like, damn, parents, they would have never closed the school down if you came to more PTA meetings. You know what I mean? They wouldn't close the school down if we had a real LSC. You know what I mean? And then I look at the then alderman coming there and, I'm not allowing this. Ain't nobody gonna close no school down. Everybody hip, hip, hooray. You know, and I'm like, hold up. You got to leave. This is what I say. All right, man, you can take that somewhere else. This ain't the place for you to campaign.
Right.
And everybody looking like, I'm like, look, we here for the kids. We not here to put her back in office. Watch out. Right. Everybody's looking like, oh, shit. Like, hey, man, I'm going to always speak what I feel is right. I don't care. Y'all can be mad at me later, man. That's why I know I get a lot of grief from my views on politics, but I see enough to have my views on politics the way I do.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that I like that you touched on was about like community and segregation, and I feel like I was kind of fortunate essentially to grow up where I did, because essentially I started off way east 79th Street, right, and the exact address 3053. So essentially from where I went, you could have went up. So if you went north, right, you would encounter more black people, things like that. But my family, just the way we lived our life, we went south. So we went south and stayed east. So my whole memory bank is like took place kind of on 79th Street where we were and on Commercial. So it was so funny, like even thinking like my first friend was definitely like me and him, like his name was Chudo. Like I remember Chudo, and like his mom used to make me food, and it was like an apartment building, man. And like just up and down Commercial. So to me, like I didn't like, of course, like I had black people on my block. I had definitely I remember like our closest family friend, we had a guy named Rabbit. Who was Mexican. We just had like people, so it was like starting off like that. It was like, huh, what? Like this is natural. Like, and even like as an older kid, like when I got older and I had like cars and stuff like that, I would always go back over to Commercial. Like I'm going back to people who knew me when I was a kid. I'm going back to Cabrales Auto Repair. Like like they knew me since I was this high. They've been fixing my family cars. They knew us at this point. They'd be like, oh, you Leela's grandson, you Audrey's nephew. Like, and I would go over to these places that all knew me, and I was like, gee, like, and I know, like, as I'm older now, I'm like, I know other people didn't get that experience, but to me, I'm like, yo, that was essentially invaluable, because then when I looked up, like, people didn't, like, I didn't look at them different. They definitely didn't look at me different. They was like, yeah, we've been watching Deion little big head ass run up and down these streets forever. And I feel like, man, like, that was such an experience. and then that's why I was, I think, weird in high school when I hit and had to go to Lane Tech. And then it was different. Like, it was different. Like, I remember going to Lane Tech, and I was just like, oh, okay, like, they gonna be cool with me. And then I was sitting there, and I was like, and then I look up, and these dudes like, yeah, we just got chased off a block after looking at some girls. They was like, they had to run all the way to the red line. I was like, you had to what? I was like, for real?
But you know, it's like so many, we have so many stories about like our friends like being in like Mexican neighborhoods and like being chased. Yes. Does that happen for you all? Like y'all end up in black neighborhoods? Because I feel like black folks like we got some ignorant people. I feel like, but I feel like it may happen. I don't know how can I put it. I feel like it happens more for us that we get chased out of y'all neighborhoods. Yeah. From time to time.
I mean, I don't know. I think there is definitely a lot of the internalized racism that ends up pitting people who black versus brown a lot against each other. It's almost like, all right, we're gonna have you all fight against each other instead of recognizing where the real problem is and the fact that people are trying to.
Is it racism or is this just gang shit?
I think there's intersex. I think it's both.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
You know, I don't think it's solely gang shit. I think there's also a lot of the kind of bravado, macho, kind of masculine hyper shit. That's a part of it too. Somebody's in your turf territory, you're trying to challenge them. But yeah, I mean, I remember. I don't know if you remember, Ant, but in high school, must have been like freshman year. You and I had to work on a class assignment together, and then you and I took the bus over to my place.
I remember this. Yes.
And you know, and I'm like, cool, we're going to go to my crib, we're going to work on this. And but I remember as we're walking, we get off on the number 9 bus and start walking down 45th and right by the park. And then a couple of the dudes from the neighborhood, they kind of see, and they see a young black guy walking. They start flashing every black gang sign they know and starting to dip that. It's just like, just because they see Ant there. So that was that gang piece. But the fact that they noticed there was a young black man walking through there caught their attention, right? Had I been walking with one of the guys from Whitney Young that was Latino, would they have had that response? It's hard to know, but I think they would have been able to, so to speak, fly under the radar, right?
What? I was Stevie Wonder to the bullshit. Just look straight ahead. I was like,
and me too. I was like, I was like, damn. I was like, man, that's fucked up. I'm trying to bring Ant over to my house and do this assignment, and it's like, and I would have felt shitty as hell had something popped off, because it was like the Ant would have looked at me like, you setting me up or something?
I wouldn't look at you. I'd have ran my ass off.
I felt responsible for it, even as a 9th grader.
See, that was the crazy thing about Kiri. Like either way, like if you on the train, if you miss the main train and you get lagged back a little bit trying to mess with a female, and you got to go past on the Orange Line, go past 35th and Archer and all that, you're going to get it. You know what I mean? I ain't saying so much you'll get whooped, but you go get the stairs. You go get an occasional little gang signs flash.
Right.
Plasky? Oh, if you missed the Plasky bus and you stuck on Plasky and 31st by yourself, pray. Just pray. I'll tell you. Bro, listen, it was not a busy area. It was neighborhood. So now you in the middle of a neighborhood on Plasky and 31st. And it was
village.
Yes, sir. And oh, my God. So, yeah.
So we have our neighborhoods that, like, in the black community, like, don't get caught there, or like they're like extra dangerous. Like, what are the neighborhoods that you all will refer to as neighborhoods? Like, nah, you might not want to be over there.
Yeah. Right. Growing up, that message was something that was clear to me, and neighborhoods like Little Village, neighborhoods like Back of the Yards, those are the ones where, and being from Back of the Yards, I knew how to navigate it. But that was the message: is like, careful going to Little Village. The thing is, as I've gotten older, maybe I know how to structure for safety and how to do that a little bit more now. Right. But part of what I'm doing now is I refuse to almost
entertain that.
Perpetuate that narrative of like, these hoods ain't safe, because I think what it does is it overemphasizes and almost falsely emphasizes that these neighborhoods are so it's like so terrible, so violent that they got no strength, that they got no goodness in there, and I think it ends up scaring people from them visiting these neighborhoods that got a lot of good qualities, a lot of good strengths. Because I hear that narrative now being shared about Back of the Arch, my own neighborhood. People are like, don't go there. It's like, it's like, you're going to go there, you're going to get mugged, you're going to get shot, whatever the narrative is, you hear, that's all the news talks about, is all the shootings that happen in neighborhoods like that. And I'm living there, I'm raising my children there, and I'm thinking, like, what the hell are they talking about? So I always invite people to like come walk with me through the neighborhood so they can see what it like all the strength, all the beauty that exists in there. So like now I don't share that narrative of telling people don't go to this hood, don't go to that hood. I say, no, I mean, don't walk into somebody's hood thinking you're like you own the place either, because people will call you on it. But you go in and be ready to learn and listen to what the community has to offer. Don't come in trying to think you have the answers or like, oh, you could walk around freely in any neighborhood. You have to respect the culture and the context of each area with both the challenges and the strengths. But I don't think there's, I mean, I always invite everybody into my neighborhood just for that reason, because the direct opposite is always being shared by everybody. Like, nope, don't go in those neighborhoods, don't go in those neighborhoods. And I like to call bullshit on that. It's like we ain't running around shooting each other all the time. It's like it happens, but that doesn't define us. That doesn't represent or encompass the fullness of what we are.
And that's really what's going on right now with my area as well. The Austin area, you know, it gets a bad rap about so many murders and crime. But I tell people like this, it's pockets. It's not the entire area. It's like pockets, like little areas just you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just crime riddled. And I tell people all the time, it's not what you think. It's still beautiful homes. Like behind my house, all kind of beautiful mansions. Because, you know, like half of Austin used to be Oak Park. You know, there's a big town hall in the middle of Austin. I mean, there's no other town hall, I don't think, in the city. And like you say, you just get bad raps because you don't know. And you just knowing from what the media portrays it to be and all that. But I tell people all the time, Austin is beautiful, but you will never see it because you never come. You only know from what the news say.
I always feel like it's bullshit when people say that, right? Like people love to say that. Like people love to say like this area is bad, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like us, you know, and the younger mind probably would believe that, and I would say too probably the older mind. Right, but now at this point, like I know one of my homies, he's you know, I know he part of his childhood, he grew up in the Gardens, Altgale Gardens, and it was funny because like he was like, man, he was telling me one day like he was like, you know, come to the Gardens, meet me or whatever, and I'm just like, you know, like by the time I'm like already in there, like I'm already in there, and he's like, and then he was like, you wasn't scared to come to the Gardens? No. I'm like, because I feel like at this point, I know how to act in every neighborhood I go to. Mm-hmm. I know how to act. And I know how to, like, you know, be like a guy who's like, yo, like, I'm new here. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Plus, if you invite me into your shit and something happen, I will come back from the dead and fucking kill you. I will haunt your motherfucking, and don't you do it. I just, like, at this point now, like, the people who I hang with, if you invite me somewhere, like, I need to leave the same way I came.
Yeah.
This not about to be Denzel and Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, we at an age now where, like he touched earlier about macho and all that's out the window. You know what I mean? Right. I'm not. If I know I wouldn't even be over here, I'm not finna bring you into it. I got into it with Fat Will about this shit. Yeah. I'm like, hey Will, Joe, why are we parked on blankety blank and blank? Like he's like, nigga, stop being a hoe. I like, Joe, stop being stupid, nigga. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Joe, this is stupid for us to be parked on this block this time of night just sitting here, bro. Right. Like, you got to still be smart. It ain't about being scared. It's about being smart sometimes.
That's why I talk about structure for safety. So it's like, I think the risks I took as a teenager, I don't do that. Now, I'm not going to be posted up on the block, parked in the car, because then if somebody is happening to be scoping, looking for some trouble, and they see that car is just sitting there, they're going to make their rounds. They might go get strapped up and come back. And that can happen. Because you make yourself vulnerable by leaving yourself out there.
And it even, too, as we get older, I think one of the things that I try to, like, pass on when I talk to young people, like, your demeanor changes, right? So when you're younger, you may be in the neighborhood, it's maybe skeptical, you may be walking, you may have your head down, you may give off this look like, yo, like people don't, like they don't know you in the begin with, like, you know what I'm saying, like, but when you kind of get to the point where you like, yo, they don't know me, so now when I'm in the neighborhood, my head up, I'm walking, I'm speaking to people, you know what I'm saying, that probably wouldn't normally have anybody speak to them, like just based off of, yo, like this guy walking, he random, and I'm like, yo, like I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna say what's up.
That's right.
So you already know, like we made eye contact. You looking, and now you're not even looking at me as a threat. You like, okay, like I'm looking at this guy, like, and that's what I always take everywhere, because I tell anybody, when I go to LA, a lot of times my first stop is South Central, like because it's a store that I really like. So I go there and I'm like, yo, like it's people outside, like the store not in a good neighborhood. Like it's definitely on Crenshaw. It's people outside, they kicking it. And when I go there randomly, I'm like, yo, like what's up? How you doing? Like, and I tell people, yo, I'm from Chicago. I'm from here. Like I'm coming over here. You know, same thing. Like I've been to Compton a couple times. Like that's just how you present yourself when you go there.
Right.
And it's the same thing here. It's like you have to get to that point, and I think what kind of encouraged me, we did a Z Summit a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
All right.
We had auditorium high school kids at IIT, and I was encouraged by like the confidence that those young people had, because I was literally looking at them. And I was like proud, because I was like, I wish I was this smart when I was that age. Like I wish I was this aware just of life, period.
That's right.
And, you know, kids were walking up to us, hey, you know, giving us the firm handshake. My name is this and this, and here's what I want to do. And I was looking at these kids in amazement. Like, yo, these kids are smart. They're advanced. Like, they're already on this path. Like they where I was at 27.
Right. Exactly. Well, I'm at 32.
But the point you made about like being purposeful and intentional of walking around greeting people, good afternoon, how's it going, what's up, like that in itself is what promotes that sense of safety. And within these kids that then naturally have those abilities, it's like they're making connections, building relationships. And when you do that in an area that you think has like high rates of violence, what you're doing is you're saying, hey, we know it is kind of shitty out here, but we got each other, we're in this together, and we're going to make a connection with each other. And the more consistency and predictability that comes with that, the easier it is for them, these young people, to grow up and say, I feel safer. I'm in a safer environment because I know I got these adults, this neighbor, this coach. You know, Doug and I were talking a little bit about before. It's like when kids got that predictable, stable adult that they know they can go to for whatever thing they need to go to, it lifts the load off of them and let them know that they ain't alone on this.
Yeah.
You know?
Listen, before we get back, because we gonna touch on you working with kids in a second.
Sure.
Dude, let me tell y'all something. When I had got the Bumblebee Camaro. Some people know this. Yeah. Dude, when I had the Bumblebee Camaro, bright yellow, I was going to a boxing class in Altgill Gardens, right? And it's like Monday night, and it's like, like it's springtime, so it's getting dark early, and I would literally just pull up, and if y'all know where the park is, the field house, it's not in the front. Like it's definitely deep in the back, and I would pull up in the back, get out of my car, and it's like I'm walking in the building, and it's all kind of young people. And I'm just like, you know I'm drawing attention. But I'm like, cool. Like, I'm speaking to everybody, and I go in there, and it's like, you know, kids running around, teenagers or whatever. And I'm just like talking to everybody. I'm like, because I know I stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I know how fast word travel. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm here for boxing. I'm in there with them. I'm talking to them about the boxing training that they doing. And after a while, it was like, oh, yeah, you know, that's Dion. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't need like, a lot of people lead you to think that ends a disaster. No, it doesn't. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Once you talk to people, get to know people, they're like, yo, he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
He's talking to me. He's engaging me. Right. Me and the boxing instructor were talking, like, mad cool. And they like, you know, like, where you live? I'm like, oh, I live in South Holland. And they like, oh, okay. So they like, don't even make me sign up for the Chicago Park District waivers. No, like, they like, yo, just come in here and train. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, because I'm interfacing as well as being present. And I think that's a thing, like, you know, that's something that everybody knows. You don't just go to somebody's neighborhood and take.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's everywhere.
Right.
Yes.
Like, that's everywhere.
Yeah, and so in that case, your presence is bringing value because you're putting in the effort to make connections, and they recognize, well, Dion's bringing something here. He's a cool dude. He's stable. We know who he is, and he's not just coming here to use our resources and then be gone.
Right. Exactly.
Connections is everything with kids. I'm telling you, man. Just asking another kid, like, like, just say we played George Washington last week, and then I see that same George Washington team this week. I talk to him, what's up, man? Who y'all playing this week? How y'all doing, man? Then I see a play on their team I recognize. I'll be like, number 2, Joe, you killed. I told you, pump fake next time. You know,
right.
Now, kids look at that like, wait, this guy just coached against us, but now he's giving me tips and stuff like that. Like little stuff like that with kids, man. Y'all be surprised how far that go. Now I got the whole George Washington team. I probably got some parents like, yeah, I was looking at McNair, and I was thinking about taking. You know what I mean? Right. It just be little stuff like that, man.
You know how many cousins I had to go to Washington? I had to go to Washington, and it's like once you get over there, you know, like you said, once you get into the avenues, it was like, dude, I had a lot of cousins go. I had 2 cousins go there. And, you know, I would have to go pick them up. Like, the younger one, I had to go pick up from school. The older one, I used to go over there. She played high school basketball for them. So I definitely, like, spend a lot of time. And it's like, gee, like, just growing up over East, like, you just, like, you know, that just did not, the fear did not hit me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It didn't hit me because I was like, these are the same people I've been seeing forever. So, Claudio.
Yes.
You work in the back of the yards. Wait, and before we get to it, I got so much I want to talk. So you brought us some coffee. You brought us gifts.
Yeah, I got a couple gifts. Yes,
we brought us gifts. Tell us about this coffee, man, because it's special. It's special.
So I'll give you I'll tell you the backstory on the coffee, but first I just want to say the reason I bought the gifts, just because it's kind of my way of giving back, because this podcast to me is a gift. Every time I throw it on and listen, I look forward to it, and I'm always repping it to the fullest, man. I'm always out there telling people to get on the podcast just because, I mean, I'm cracking up, and there's other times where I'm disagreeing with you, and I just want to talk to the radio, and I'm like, oh, yes. You know. So that's how I know it's hidden, because I was like, that's exactly right. So the coffee is just a gift to kind of just show appreciation for all the great work you do, and just want to acknowledge the strength and the wealth of experience here in the room. But so the coffee, I came with gifts with a bag of 12-ounce coffee for each of you from Back of the Yards Coffee House. This is a coffee house that's opening up on 47th and Sealy there in the Back of the Yards in my neighborhood. 2 friends of mine, so a man and a woman, started this coffee shop with the idea of trying to provide high-grade quality coffee, so some premium coffee for the community in an area where, you know, you're not going to find these bougie coffee shops that you find everywhere else, right? Yes. So, but they feel like, well, we like drinking good coffee too. So they decided to do that, but then take it a few steps further by then making sure that they were going to be community-based by having a business in the community that is going to be at prices that the community can afford, and on top of that, hiring people from the community, young people from the community, to then work the coffee shop. And then the next thing they do is each bag of coffee that they sell, they donate $1 of that bag of coffee to a social impact fund that then goes into a social program in the community, like a youth mentoring program or the Kids Cafe. And what they do is then they donate that within the community to then keep kind of sharing the love and recognizing this community has given us a space and the people that then we serve, and we want to use their dollars to then give back to the community. So they do that. So that's all what they do to help stimulate the sense of belonging and the economic power within the community here locally in the Back of the Yards. Then, on top of that, they connect with a local farm, family farm out in Chiapas, Mexico. And over there, they connected with a woman who one of my partners, the one who started the coffee shop, met here in Chicago, and she said, oh, my family has a farm over there, and we're struggling to get it going, because we usually have to produce the beans, and then we sell it to, like, the middleman, and by the time he sells it, and he takes his cut, and by the time so they weren't really making a lot of profit. So then my friend and this woman spoke about, well, why don't we just do direct? Like, you'll be our direct grower, and we'll not only then have it here in our community, but we'll be able to make sure that your family farm is up and running, getting the max profit for your product, and then have a kind of a stable, consistent flow of revenue coming in. So by drinking this, like, premium rich coffee, not only are you, like, enjoying coffee, which is, you know, I know a lot of people out there drink their coffee on a daily basis. Not only are you doing that, you're also then providing for 2 communities, one locally here on the south side of Chicago, and then one out, a family farm out in Mexico. And I think, like, to me, that's the embodiment of a lot of what we do in the Back of the Yards and communities like it. I know that those strengths are not unique to our neighborhood. That's something that a lot of us know how, when we rely on perseverance and resilience, that's just something that we do, is as we come up and do well on our own, we're making sure we're helping out others as we do it. So that's one of the gems of the Back of the Yard. So that's why I brought that coffee for you all.
The coffee shop went straight to the plug, fam.
I'm thinking that the whole time.
Went straight to the plug.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you the first thing that popped in my head. Do you have dreams, George?
Oh, God. You know what?
Do you have dreams, George?
I was just thinking of the interview where Future was like sensational. Like, that's essentially what that is. It's like, I mean, it's everything, and it sounds like it all happened in such an organic way.
Yeah.
Right? It's all organic. Yeah. And it's just like root-based. Like, yo, this business, this is where it's going to start. And if you look at it, trace it back to the farm. Mm-hmm. The farm's like, yo, like, we have to sell to a middleman. Right. Like, you know, and anybody who ever has done any type of business knows the middleman. You like, oh man, I hate the middleman.
That's right. That's what I'm gonna say to this day.
And you don't know if you getting good information and bad information. You don't really know. It's like leaving your business up in somebody else's hands. And it's like the kind of way that you say, you know what, no. Like that, we're not going that way.
And the middleman could be setting the price.
That's right.
All the time. He could just say, yeah, man, I know you told me it's $5, but this guy said it's only worth $3. So, you know, he could be pocketing the other $2 and still taking his commission off the $3.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all bad.
And for them to say, yo, this is the idea we have, for them to meet in the middle and just form that it's great. And it's like, it's such a, and it sounds like such a, like, you know, it's just a business model that kind of we can all learn from.
Right.
We can all learn from.
And apply to anything we do.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, that's great. So, you said the coffee shop is opening?
Yeah, it's they just were featured in the Chicago Tribune Sunday paper today. Yeah.
Okay.
And you can find the article online too. They have they're hoping for the shop itself to be open by May, but they're already up and running in the sense where they do two things. They sell wholesale to a couple of coffee shops locally, and then an ice cream shop where they have their coffee flavored ice cream that features Back of the Yards coffee as a product. So they do that wholesale piece already, and then they're selling to the bags that I brought you all today. They're selling as part of their coffee club membership, where people can sign up for 3 months, 6 months, and they'll deliver to your home and bring the coffee, and you can either get it whole bean or ground. Right, I mean, it's just fresh. I don't know if you brought the bag into the studio. You can take a whiff of that bag. That product just smells really intense. It's potent, but so that's the way they're building their revenue right now. And then once the shop opens, it's going to be right across the street from Back of the Yards High School. So it's going to be serving the students in the high school, the teachers there. And there's a library right across the street too. So I mean, it's like premium spot and a place where you know it's going to be used to not only people to drink coffee, but to then stimulate ideas and get young people to go in and work on their schooling and all the other things. So like it connects on so many levels, you know.
I'm gonna say I'm going. I'm gonna be there. We should go there.
I'm with it.
I'll shoot you the grand opening when it happens, and then maybe I'll invite you all to come through, and then we'll get some tacos from that spot I was telling you about.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up. Before we get back to your community involvement.
No, that's cool.
Quick aside. So, my people.
Oh shit!
I hang around too many taco loving people, and I feel like they be getting their tacos from the wrong places sometimes. And we have a Mexican friend named Garcia
who doesn't
speak Spanish.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother story.
He's not real. Go ahead.
He's not real. But we love Garcia. His mother is real, though. Love his mother to death. But himself, But he keeps telling us, like, we getting the tacos from wrong spots. Y'all don't know real tacos. So, a serious, not serious question. Where do your people, like, get, like, where do you all claim are the best taco spots? Like, for instance, like when I was like just browsing on your page, and you was an international,
but it's international, but it's just pretty much right.
International. No. I'm gonna listen to the podcast and practice that all summer 17. I need to add to my repertoire. Yes.
Oh my God. But usually when I ask that questions when I was in high school and stuff, I used to always ask. They just be like, my mom. Like that.
Yeah.
They're not big fans.
They're not giving us like the secrets. So Claudio, give us some of the secrets.
All right. So I will share with you all. One of my friends wrote a blog that just covered this very issue.
Oh, okay. Yes.
He's got a Latino hip hop magazine online called Watcha. So that's another thing. Another guy from back of the yards, and he's always repping.
Could you spell that real quick?
Watcha, yeah, it's WATCH, so like watch, then an A. And so Watcha. So it's kind of like look at this, right?
Like Watcha.com?
Watcha, yeah, WatchaMag.com.
WatchaMag.com,
right.
okay.
And there he's written a bunch of blogs, does a lot of good work. He also does his own music and raps and all that. Amazing dude. But he wrote one that covers this very issue. It's called How to Spot a Great Taco Spot.
Yes. Please, give us some tips. I'm so anxious right now.
Listen.
No genuine.
The good fellas of No Foreplay want y'all to open up y'all ears. Because I know mine are open. If y'all know me and my chicken taco.
Shout out to our good friend Chris, who's a taco addict.
Listen, I came up on good tacos, bro.
Yeah.
Like on commercial,
I
them
bet
restaurants
you
would go into, and they would just have like regular stoves lined up, like not even commercial.
Regular stove.
Right. So like my favorite joint is located off of 46 in Ashland.
And I have to go there with you one day.
And it's a grocery store, and they just happen to have like 10 square feet of the grocery store dedicated to cooking tacos.
That's when you know that shit real.
Yes.
Right. So that's one of the things, but just kind of. So he did this. My guy did an A through Z. Juan Zarate did an A through Z of spotting the best taco spots, and I'm just kind of looking at the blog as I look at it now. One of his criteria is 2 tortillas per taco, or
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't want my shit falling out the
Cheese
bottom.
optional in between.
Right.
Filth.
Sorry.
He said another one. He said is they got to sell the Mexican Coke bottles. So there's Coke bottles that in the glass. He said so you got to sell Mexican Coke bottles, and you also got to be able to buy your calling cards there, so you could call long distance.
Come on, man.
Come on with it, buddy. Yes. Do y'all hear this? You can't get this information nowhere else.
He said the restrooms got to be co-ed, and there's got to be gang graffiti in the stall.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't feel like my food has been cooked to its best potential unless some type of gang activity has went down. I'm sorry.
And then another telltale sign is like as you go in to see the taco spot, if maybe there happen to be a corn lady selling out in the corner right there, you might be in the right vicinity. So
right, cool.
So those are some of the pointers. But I'll refer you to the blog just to check it out to identify all of those.
We're gonna go on there and we're gonna actually link the blog to this episode.
Yes. Excellent.
Because I just pulled it up. I'm looking. I'm sitting there nodding my head. Yes.
Man, listen. My favorite taco spot didn't even have a sign. You just had to know it was there. It was on Plasky and Ogden.
And you know what? Another random way, a good taco spot, randomly, like when you look up and the police eat them.
Yep.
Yes.
Because
they will drive distances to find a good spot.
That's one tan.
Once you see CBD out there.
What's the one on Ogden? I think was that People's Tacos?
No, you think about Raymond. You think it's called Sanchez.
Oh, okay.
Sanchez, right there on Plaza. Yes, yeah. And green and red sauce, please.
It was lit.
Green and red sauce, please.
It was indeed lit. We went over there one fateful night on the west side.
Oh, yes.
I think you was with me.
I was definitely with you.
Yes.
I would say, listen, like I said, ever since Chudo mother used to make me food, Jack, like me and Mexican food have a relationship. Because his mother used to make me nachos, and if you know me now, nachos is like my go-to, right? Mm-hmm. Like how some of y'all love tacos, I love nachos.
I love a good nacho. Yeah. Like if you prepare it right for an appetizer at restaurants. Some restaurants be fucking it up, but like if you got a bomb ass nacho appetizer,
I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of nachos like I used to be. Yeah. Now I just need tacos Fresh. And tater tots.
We are just like look Fresh. We already have established that your food criticism is null and void.
Hey, y'all really need to get on chimichangas, bro. Arturo's that used to be out south. I don't know if it's still open. It was like a 60-something Western. I don't know. Right, man. But they had chimichangas off the chain.
Okay, my last question related to tacos. Right. Do you all find it funny a little bit how much black folks really love tacos sometimes?
No, I take it as a sign of respect, man.
Okay.
It's like I think like excellent. Like this is such a treasure. It's like we don't want to keep that to ourselves. We want to share the love.
We appreciate you.
Another thing, the way we eat our tacos is like frowned upon.
What do you mean? How you eat them?
Like so, with cheese, lettuce, tomato, sour cream.
Garcia did say something like that.
Yeah. You want to keep it simple, and either do, depending on the type of taco it is, and just either do cilantro and cebolla, so cilantro and onion, right?
Yeah. I know a little Spanish too.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or lechuga and tomate, so lettuce and tomato.
Yeah.
Right. And so it depends on where you are. So there's certain joints like Atotonilco where you go there and you get the Atotonilco taco and they throw sour cream on it.
Yeah.
So, but for the most part, that's more of like an add-on. But you for sure, one of the things you always want to add to it, besides just the cilantro, cebolla, tomate, y lechuga, would be a little bit of the salsa and then squeeze a little bit of lime on there.
Yeah, lime. Lime.
You know,
we went to the north side at one time. The girls had a little lime lined up at the tacos. And we did the interview and stuff. That was dope.
You know how I knew it was frowned upon? Because everywhere you go, it's like extra. It's not, it don't come on there, right?
It's
and
extra.
I was like, okay. And then it's, to me, like, y'all know how much I love LA. And it's like LA, man, you could just go around and just try different people's tacos, man. It was like the greatest thing ever. And then people was telling me, they was looking at me crazy because I don't drink beer. And they was like, you should always have a beer. And I was like, I'm like, y'all gonna try to convert me.
When I go on 110 I'll be talking just like that. I'll be speaking Spanish. Like, pollo con queso.
That's right.
Man,
pollo con queso.
Dude, it was a place next to Dusty Groove Record Store. And I went in there one time and I was like, they made me tacos. I was just literally sitting in there. And I knew it was good because the only people in there was me and the cops, and I wasn't nervous. I wasn't nervous. It was about 6.
They changed up on me, but it was a hood spot. Now this taco was like nothing compared to any other taco, but it was just so greasy. It was like perfect drunk food. Oh my God, it was Maxwell's on Sacramento and Harrison. Oh my God.
By Fat Williams.
Yes, sir, boy. I'll put my life on the line anytime to get tacos from over there, boy. Woo, and a pineapple crush.
Lord.
Why
are we so dirty?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna change my life.
One day.
Not today though.
Nah.
Dude, you ever win the taco place and ask for a flour tortilla?
Ooh, that's sacrilegious right there.
No.
Dude,
That's never asked for flour.
Right, that's the epitome of like just siding with the Spaniards on the conquest. You know, it's like,
dude,
it's like corn tortillas. The corn. I mean, obviously, the taste. I think is just a preference, but the symbolism behind it. Corn naturally has its origins in Mesoamerica. So what before Mexico and Central America, it was all called Mesoamerica. So they domesticated it from a wild grass and grew it. And corn is such a staple of the Mesoamerican and now Mexican diet that it connects to the roots there. And the flour is a tortilla that was introduced once kind of the European conquest came in. And it's not that it isn't used, but I take it as a sign of disrespect.
I am being educated for the rest of my life.
Man, Joe.
For the rest of my life. I will never, ever get
flour again.
And it's not that I don't eat flour tortillas. I still do. I just have a strong preference for the corn because the taste is better.
With you.
Yeah, I'm with you, brother.
Because
there's a history.
There's a history. I did not know this.
I was at I had stopped in a little taco joint like down the street from Clemente High School. And I remember they had all the tacos and everything you can get. Then at the bottom it said, the American. And then
yeah, right.
And it's like everything that I put on the taco was the American. I'm like, what the fuck? But I can understand, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't a big cilantro guy at first. So I can understand, like, yeah, I fucked it all up.
Yeah, and you gotta cater. You gotta cater to the audience. You know, it's like you recognize, like, if you only sell to the people who are used to your product, you're gonna miss out on a big, larger clientele. So you gotta be flexible a little bit.
The American.
I stand in solidarity. Corn tortillas.
Corn tortillas.
You know what? Hey, you'll see it like it's a taco place I love in LA. One of them in North Hollywood, right? So you go out there, and they got a shrimp scampi taco. And I remember looking at it like, and then all the people who was coming in there definitely looked like, you know, they do the bro hugs and stuff like that. And I was like, nah, man, just give me the regular taco. Like, give me like 3 of them. And it was like, you get a whole different reaction. Like, come on, man. Like, I'm not going to an authentic place getting a shrimp scampi on a taco, bro. Like, it's not what we here for.
At all. No, I know what I'm eating for dinner.
You eat a taco?
Hell yeah.
You know what? Okay. So, Claudio, tell us a little bit about your work with the youth. I know that definitely
is a passion of yours.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. It's I think it's something that just naturally I gravitated towards growing up in the neighborhood. It's something that I did as a youth myself. So it's like connecting with kind of just group of guys. We would hang on the block and then would be like, hey, let's go over to what we called reflections or the meeting. We would just go meet and it'd be a bunch of 15, 16-year-old guys meeting. But there waiting for us were, other like these grown men that served as these consistent, stable role models for us. At 15, 16, I couldn't identify them as such. We were going for the pizza. We had free pizza, and it's like, let's go, right? But then once we kept going and we knew the predictability was there, then you started end up building relationships with these gentlemen who were then serving as examples of what it's like to be a man in our community. So that to me early on just kind of planted the seed of like, damn, this is powerful. So when I got through to college and this, needed side jobs, I would work doing like tutoring and after school programs, and then from there just felt like it was just a natural fit, and I hearing Doug talk and seeing what he does like with the basketball team. To me, I'm just like, damn, that resonates so much because that's exactly the approach that and not just me, but I think this is just a culture in our community that we just take and we then kind of say, all right, we got to make sure that we provide an example and opportunities more than anything for these young people to thrive and achieve their full potential. So, so I did that in various capacities, all, early on through college and up until now. Currently, what I do is I have a college support group for young people in the neighborhood. And I leave it broad and open to what, quote unquote, I say college interested individuals. And I say college interested because I don't want it to just be limited to somebody who has to be enrolled in college. If you've got issues that have prevented you from, continuing in college, or you had to stop out for a reason or another. We know there's a lot of challenges associated with finances or undocumented status that won't allow somebody to continue on a path of higher education. So I leave it open so that way it could be a support of how do those individuals engage, or if you are in school, it's a lot of first generation. A lot of us are the first ones to go to college in our families, and we don't have a roadmap and a whole host of people that are then just going to say this is the way you do it. Usually we rely on peers or maybe a slightly older sibling that tells us this is the way I did it, this is how you fill out a FAFSA, this is how you do an application. So this is just kind of then to build on that culture of like, hey, you ain't the first, you are the first one in your family, but know that there's a network of people here in the community that were the first themselves that you can lean on, that can let you know you ain't alone, that we got your back, and if something comes up, that we would be able to help you out in some way. So we do that. We meet on a monthly basis, and then we keep in touch electronically through sharing of resources, scholarships, internships, that kind of stuff. And I talk about the culture of the community that comes from scholarship opportunities that have blossomed in the neighborhood that I received back in college. There's a scholarship that's 20 years running now called the Peace and Education Coalition Scholarship. And what they do is they give scholarships to students from the area who all they got to do is do some kind of service in the area. They don't even look at the grades. They don't even care if your grades are stellar or not. They're like, we want to promote individuals who give back and are justice-oriented to their community. And then by doing any kind of hours, you get this college scholarship. And so that's money that then you get in your pocket to use for books, to use for tuition. I remember I used it. I had this beat up Camry, and I used it to buy me some new wheels when I was in college. Right. I was a commuting student, right? So it's like, hey. And so a lot of us, and there's people who they'll say, oh yeah, I used it to buy me clothes because I didn't have clothes to get to school, right? And so it's like little things like that that help. So that scholarship has been running 20 years, and then from that blossomed another scholarship through the Dreamers and Allies run, and that's specifically for those immigrants of undocumented status that are going through school that are not eligible for federal financial aid and usually not eligible for a lot of private scholarships because they need resident or citizenship status. So this has been running 5 years, where just a few young people from the neighborhood started running the Chicago Marathon and then raising money for each mile, and then they would get money and take that and give out 3 scholarships, to the point where they have given out over 30 scholarships now, and they've even got Dwayne Wade last year donated, I think it was like 5 or 10 G's towards their scholarship efforts. So these are just kind of I'm just like, when you talk about the work I do, Dion, like I can't even fully take credit for all the amazing things that are going on there. I just feel like I'm just going with the current of things, and it's so natural to fit into that because that's just the culture of what's happening there, you know. But I think to me that youth empowerment, that youth emphasis has always been something I've done. And I remember from 2005 to 2015, I ran a Friday night mentoring group out of one of the churches there in the neighborhood. And part of that time, the first 5 years, is when I was employed through the church. So I was a youth worker doing a lot of youth work there. And these were kids, young guys from the neighborhood. Friday, we had kind of an open door policy. You could come in. It would be a lot of peer referrals. They'll be like, hey, Claudio, can I bring my friend? And be like, yeah, definitely. Same thing. And I knew. So got to provide them pizza and got to provide them decent conversation. So that way they have an opportunity to just have an adult to listen to them. Right. So that was happening, and then the final 5 years I did it more on a volunteer basis because that's when I wasn't employed by them anymore, and I was in grad school. But I always needed that community connection, and grad school did something where it like pulled me away from the community. Ironically, I was studying community psychology, but that shit pulls you away from the community because you're so stuck in this in the world of academia that it swallows you up. But I'm glad I'm done with it because now I'm able to get back more to the community. But I talk about volunteering for those 5 years and working for the first 5. But it was me and another guy from the neighborhood who's a probation officer, and he gave up his Fridays from 2005 to 2015 for free, just volunteered every Friday night. You could find this guy there, and he would just sit there with me and the young guys, and we'd talk about all sorts of things. And him being a probation officer, some of the kids would get in trouble with the law. He was a source of information to them go to, and it's like, so that speaks to the power of what's happening with a lot of people that like, and I'm saying, and everybody here is a living example of it because I see how Ant opens up the gym on Saturdays for the young guys. Doug, what you do with your basketball boys, it's all of you all at that Z Summit, like those are that I think that's just the norm, that's just the culture, and it's easy to identify that if people are willing to recognize like the investment that we make in our youth.
I think.
Go ahead.
No, because I think it's just easy for us to do that because we remember when we were kids and people doing that for us and bringing us up. So like, I would be a hypocrite if I just ignored the community that helped raise me.
Oh yeah, and I didn't even work in the community I grew up in. Work, live, everything. Right. So but it's one thing. Like I've been noticing this whole episode, I've been listening and taking in. I always had like a little jealousy when it came to like the Mexican community because I always felt like you guys are way more tight knit than our community. And when you come into a Mexican community or whatever, any Latino community, or Puerto Rican, Mexican, anything, you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? When you come into that community, whether it's the big murals in the Mexican neighborhood or the big Puerto Rican flag when you're driving down Division, I feel like our community really doesn't have that sense to me. Like we don't have that, like, even just, I say it's something to look at the store and it says El Supermercado. You know what I mean? I said that means something. You know what I mean? I'm like, I always been jealous of that. Like I love that, the tight-knitness and like just the, I don't know, you can feel the culture as soon as you come into the community. You know the way Chicago segregated. As soon as you go onto the Viaduct, you know. as soon as you go onto the Viaduct, you can feel it, man. That's just one thing I've always been jealous of.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a good point. I think maybe even the perception it gives off that we may be more united than we actually are. Exactly. You know, I think as like people from the outside looking in might say, oh, they're super united. There still is a lot of tension and conflict within because people have their different views on things, and like say like gangbanging being one of the primary issues where some people are like, no, we need to target and go after those gang members at all costs, and other people are like, that's my brother, like that's family, like we can't just lock them up. And so that issue tends to create a divide between people where they're like, no, well, those gang members are the ones harassing my children every day. And then the other people realize, well, because my son was labeled as a gang member by police and put on the strategic subject list or the gang database, now they run the risk of then being their deportation proceedings being expedited and then being deported. You know, so it's like, so it's complicated, right? So it's never as simple as like where there's complete unity. I think I think that's where just kind of raising the awareness, doing the things like Dion talked about, where we connect and greet people and get to know who's around us. There's a lot of effort. It has to be intentional, consistent across time. But even that ain't easy, because we know we're in a lot of transient communities where poverty then causes people to come in, and then a high turnover rate, and then they're gone. So when all the work you put in to get to know your neighbors, 6 months later, you got a whole new set of people.
Oh my God!
Right? So I mean, I think I wonder. I don't know. That's a good point, Doug. I don't know how accurate it is if like with this sense of unity. I think there's moments where people are more unified, and there's other moments where not so much. So I think it's variable. I think it's not constant. But yeah, I mean,
and that's a dope fact that I never thought of, but that's so true. Like the turnover rate you said, like 6 months later you got a new neighbor.
Right.
When we were growing up, the neighborhood, like everybody lived in the same spot forever. You know that was the Reeds, that was the Bryans, that was the Griffins. Right. You know what I mean? We kind of lost that as well. Damn, that was really...
Yeah, I'll say it was taken from us. We ain't lose shit.
Yeah.
They took it from us.
Right.
Oh shit.
You know what? I gotta. Damn, I hate to end it like this. Maybe we'll get a laugh or two out of it.
Sure.
Did anything change when
45
the Cheeto, as Cat Williams called him last night, he said the Cheeto president.
Nice.
Because I just feel like I was so like, I still feel like I'm stuck in like a joke, a reality show. Like this man is not. He could not have been selected to be the leader. Right. Like, and I just looking like he's so out of touch. Like I feel like he only has talked to 10 people like that in the past how many years. Did anything change in your community in terms of like maybe the feelings, the climate? And I just want you to describe that.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and I won't dwell too much on the negative aspect, because I think I've seen both change for good and bad. Yes. So I want to mention the bad just because it's a reality. So the distress, the tension, the worry, that it elevated almost at an all-time high, where people are worried about being targeted and being identified as quote unquote one of the bad immigrants, because there's that dichotomy that's like, oh, if you're a good immigrant you're going to be good, but if you're the bad hombre we're going to get rid of you, right? And the thing is that once you get on that slope, it becomes a slippery slope where then they try to lump everybody into being like the definition of criminality. It's like, oh well, you're a criminal because you broke the law in some way or another, even if it was say like a survival type of crime. So like when I say survival type of crime, like people got to drive every day to get to work and back and pick up their kids from school. And they'll be like, oh, you were driving without insurance, or you didn't have a license. Now you got a ticket for that, or you didn't show up to your court date. Now you got a warrant. Okay, now that you're considered criminal for something as simple as, not showing up to your court date. I mean, it's a violation, but we don't treat people like that in this country. When they don't show up to court dates, we deal with it within the law. What they want to do here is separate and tear communities apart and send them away. Mm-hmm. So there is a lot of tension, a lot of distress, worry, where people have changed their routine to the point where they're not sending their kids to school. They don't go to the grocery store. They don't engage in the regular kind of walks of life things because they're worried about being targeted. And this is those who are of undocumented status, but we know that isn't this isn't an individual thing. We exist within the context of families and communities. So even if you're a citizen kid, you got a kid you go to school with that you could potentially go to school the next day and then be gone because they were deported. What does that do to tearing apart the fabric of a community or a school culture, right? Or if someone within your family, you have mixed status families where some individuals are of legal status, resident citizens, and then you got older brothers, sisters, uncles, parents who aren't, who are of undocumented status. So the reality is, through a lot of the work I do, because I as a psychologist, is working with these families to develop an emergency safety plan. It's unfortunate we got to have these conversations, but with parents saying, this is what you should do in terms of proactively identifying safe adults and places that your kids would go to in the event that you're deported. So you got to sit there, and parents are like, it's so heavy because then parents have to have these conversations with their kids. It's not too dissimilar from the conversations black families got to have with their children about how to survive encounters with the police. It's like the fact that you even have to have these conversations is unfair because it makes it an imbalance. It's not something that mainstream America has to worry about.
Right.
But we have to make these emergency safety plans to make sure we survive because that's what it's about, preserving life right now. So that's the downside of it, and it's led to a lot of distress. We've seen kind of a public health response because there's a lot of increase in suicidality. It's something you don't hear about in the news too much because there's a contagion effect. When suicides are reported, it leads to others also more likely doing that. So the news has gotten really good about not reporting suicides, with suicide being an issue that's even more important than, or I shouldn't say more important, but the rates of suicide are twice as high the rates of homicide. So especially when we talk about by guns. So 10,000 homicides by gun each year, 20,000 suicides by gun each year. So so the suicide piece isn't shared openly, but it is happening, and that's what's affecting families. That there's that increase. Now, just to emphasize the positive, one of the things that's really come from this is that it's allowed our communities to really mobilize and connect and realize our power, and people are coming together, kind of speaking to that piece, Doug, of community unification. This is allowing people to realize we gotta mobilize, we gotta step up, we gotta protest, we gotta boycott. So there's a lot more of that that's intentional. People are becoming informed. People are confronting. They say, I don't give a fuck if I'm undocumented. I don't give a fuck if this or that. Like there's a saying that goes, derechos sin o con papeles, and that means I got rights whether I'm undocumented or not.
I say with papers or not.
Exactly right. With papers or not, we got rights because there's the human rights that we have here, and if that's something that the values that this country is going to stand for, then we're going to use this moment to test if those values are really true, and America's going to have to respond and see what they what they're worth.
Shit. I'm learning so many new Spanish sayings I'm gonna be saying.
You know what? As we, I hate that we gotta wrap this up, but I just gotta say this piece randomly. Like, for any of our listeners, I doubt we have any listen to the No Full Play Show. I know we all great people and all well informed, right? So, listen, regardless of what's in the media, like, we don't have your average person next to you, whether they brown or black, it's never going to be your real enemy, right? They're never going to be your real enemy. Somebody you could touch, have a conversation with, that they're never going to be a real enemy. And I think that's something we have to look at, because I've seen some rhetorics be swayed all of a sudden. I'm sitting here looking like, just because the president has these thoughts does not make them real, right? It does not make them real. It's like, no, he can be wrong. And it's like, regardless of what he gets up there and spews out of his mouth, it does not change what you knew for this previous portion of your life. And I think that's something that we all have to think. But I also say, like I said, the people who listen to No Full Play Show don't think like that. We are open-minded, I'm sure. I'm 100% sure.
If not, I'm sure we could convince them once they come over and have some tacos at Internacional. They'll come around.
We gonna make a day out of it. We're going to start off at the coffee shop.
That's right.
Then we're going to go over to Back of the Yards, because Claudio has some events in the Back of the Yards.
That's
I've seen on Facebook.
Well, that's my wife, man. I gotta give her the props, because she does a lot of. She's got the 5th annual. We're now working on the 6th year of Dia de los Muertos, and this is all about promoting the culture and the history of our communities, and so that's been going strong. And she just got recognized by the Cook County Commissioner Chuy Garcia, and she'll be getting that award this upcoming week. So that's just again another one of the many people on the front lines that are doing these great events and promoting culture and pride within the community. So I just need to plug that really quick too.
Yes,
and Pete,
always have to plug your wife.
Dia de los Muertos mean Day of the Dead.
You know what? Listen.
Hey, Doug's been on point. He knew that hechos, papeles.
I'm sorry. Blood In, Blood Out. One of my top movies of all time.
Me too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Claudio, what's going on right now? Doug is trying to replace you. He's trying to replace me as like your go-to friend. Like, so don't
worry, because aside from the little coffee bags, I also gave my 2 Whitney Young guys here a little Whitney Young gift to go along to commemorate the state title. You know,
state championship, state champion,
the dominance.
In case you didn't know, Douglas.
Listen,
congratulations,
Claudio.
Dolphins.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, Claudio.
Thanks
so
for
much.
having me.
Thanks so much.
It's an honor.
Really appreciate it. And you got any parting words?
I'm just, I'm happy that my friend.
Big Rat.
Go ahead. I hate Douglas so much. I'm happy that my friend since 4th grade came through, man. It's really an honor. We even trying to get this in the works the past few months. I'm glad it finally came to fruition, man.
Okay. No foreplay show.
Big word, motherfucker.
Oh man.
Do your thing. Do your thing.
No foreplay show. We out.
No foreplay.